In today's episode of the Pathmo Presents podcast, I have a very interesting guest with me here today. I'm with Martin Pazzani, and he is the founder and chairman of Activate Brain and Body. And it's a brain fitness think tank that is coming up with some great innovation in the space. So we're looking forward to learn from Martin what the concept, the company is all about, and how he's thinking about growth, and also a little bit about his journey as a founder. So, Martin, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Lucas. I'm honored.
Very good. So maybe, tell us in your own words about Activate Brain and Body. What is it all about?
Yeah, you mentioned we're a brain fitness think tank, and that's how we started out 10 years ago. And we've had three shots at bringing this to market, but now we are ready and we are moving forward to opening our first location in Cincinnati on September 1st. So basically, what we are is a first of its kind brain fitness studio. Now, there have been other brain fitness studios, but they haven't used the techniques and the technology that we're doing, and they aren't built to scale. My entire management team comes from bigger fitness operations, and we are doing this with the intent of scaling it as fast as we can because we're on a mission. And that mission is to reinvent fitness as upstream preventive healthcare, focusing on brain health for people above age 45.
Hmm. So, could you tell us a little bit about the experience? Like, what will somebody be experiencing in that studio?
Yeah, well, we've done an incredible amount of research. And again, since most of our team comes from the traditional fitness business, we've learned a few things, a few tricks. The customer experience is critical. So what we're doing is designing an experience that is custom designed for people above age 50. Now, we'll have members who are younger than that, but the difference between a mainstream fitness operation and what we're doing is there'll be less clutter, less noise, the colors will be different, the sounds will be different, the equipment will be different, the workouts will be different, the trainers exceptionally different. And it's going to be a place where people above age 50 to probably over 80 will be very comfortable hanging out. We're calling it a third place. I don't know if you know the concept of third place, but there's
Yeah.
home, there's work, and there's another place you like to hang out. And we want to be that other place for our customers.
Very cool. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about the journey, how people, get to know about that experience, and what are the channels that you see them walking through in order to get started, right? Is that like digital channels? Is there like advertising campaigns? Do you run inbound, outbound? Like what is it that you have in mind?
Yeah, well, we expect all of that to be important. We are, a lot of us, from advertising and marketing backgrounds. So we've got the whole marketing mix in mind. Yeah, there'll be some advertising. I think probably we've experimented with this. There's a story here to tell about how this came to be. And we think public relations and press will be important for us at the beginning because there's already a lot of buzz about the concept of brain health. There's just no place to go. And we want to be the punctuation, the tail end of stories about brain fitness. You see it all the time now about how important it is to an aging population. And, there's all kinds of new science about how exercise is connected to the brain. We've, through 10 years of trial, a lot of trial programs, a lot of experimentation, a lot of science, figured out how to maximize that. So our programs are specifically designed to maximize brain health.
Super good. Very interesting. Okay, cool. So, we love to talk about websites, right? In the Pathfind Presents podcast. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about the role of the website. What can people explore? What can they find? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, in this day and age, obviously you have to have a digital strategy. It's the core of any kind of customer marketing. So at first, our website, until we open, is going to be very basic. It's going to be a little bit of information about the company, but mostly it's going to be, if you're interested in this and you live in Cincinnati, please drop your information here and we'll get back to you, or one of our trainers will get back to you with information about our programs and how to join. When we finally start doing sales, the website will shift a little bit to be accepting membership, a little more content on there. And then when we actually open, not only will it have the the marketing communications piece, but there's going to be a members only piece that's going to be critical, because getting behind, let's go behind the curtain for the moment as a member. It's going to have all your metrics, all your progress, all your workouts, all the recommended programs that you're part of, and your trainer and the member will have access to all that. The trainer will use that member information to optimize the workout and to track progress. It's critical. The technology of fitness has come a long way, and a technology aspect. You probably know there's this thing called the quantified self movement, which basically at a very basic level is, Fitbits, Apple Watches, heart monitors. We use all of that. The key thing is to measure those metrics and to use those metrics to inform the trainer on how to optimize the workout, and to also show progress for the member. So our website is going to have a sophisticated way of not only optimizing the workouts, but showing results to the member. And that's critical, because in the mainstream fitness business, they measure two things really. They measure body weight and body mass. And those are possibly the worst things you could measure. They're the slowest to respond. And while they're important, there are far more metrics that are critical now. I mean, we measure things like resting heart rate variability, executive function, reaction time, things that all indicate improvements in brain health. And that's the key. And the interesting thing, I mean, it's not like you can't get fit at our club, because brain workouts actually do work the body. We found, though, that if you put the brain first, the body follows. And that's what our emphasis is. It's on the techniques that create better brain health.
Okay, super interesting. That gives us a sort of a picture of, why you guys do what you do. I would be very curious, right, to ask you a couple of questions about sort of, your experience in the market. Where would you say, where lies the biggest challenge in regards to sort of marketing in the vertical where you're operating when it comes to innovation? Obviously, you're bringing innovation to the table. Where's the biggest challenge in marketing those innovations?
Well, this is an innovation. It's a new thing. We're going to be positioning ourselves not in the fitness category, but into a new arena, something we call white space. As you look at the way you can chart out categories, there's not a lot of competition where we're going. But the risk in doing that is people are unfamiliar with something as different as we are. And our challenge is to make it not so different that people don't understand it, but to make it different enough so that we are differentiated and completely unique, and also attractive to our target, which is basically people between 45 and 80, we think. Younger people may be interested if they have the right mindset, but this is about, it's kind of funny, we've done so much research on this. Somewhere about age 50, your brain changes in what it wants from fitness. So when you're younger, you want to look good in a swimsuit, you want to be athletic. And when you hit about 50, it switches to, I want to live longer, I want to be healthier, and I want my brain to stay active. And so it changes everything about the category. And the mainstream fitness business does address those needs. That's our complete focus, is in making let's call it the boomer age and a little bit younger, comfortable with no anxiety, and to build a trusting relationship where they know their fitness and their health is in the hands of a really expert, highly trained brain trainer. So it's a different customer experience, a different mindset, a whole different thing. But we don't want it to be so different that people don't get it. So it's a balancing act.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. When we're talking about return on investment for a company like yours, right? Where is the challenge, right? You're building up that innovative in marketing those, for marketing and return on investment for those products. Where would you see is the challenge, bringing something that new to the market, but being able to see returns? Like, where do you, how do you think about that?
Well, that's the magic formula in all retail businesses, and especially in fitness. And there's plenty of case studies about that. You got to make sure that you're not overspending on your real estate. So you have to know what you're spending per square foot. You have to know how many members you think you can attract and what price. And we've been working on models for this for a long time. And then you have to retain those members, because one of the basic, I'll tell you, having worked in big box fitness companies, I will tell you the biggest financial challenge is constantly churning members and thus having to spend a lot of money on member acquisition. If you can make members stay, meaning retention, keep them retained, your economics completely change. And so our entire model is constructed for customer satisfaction that leads to member retention, that leads to higher profits. And that's much easier said than done, but that's what we're after. And we think because of our whole team's experience in the fitness business, we know where the shortcomings are, and we're taking steps to make sure that we run a profitable operation. Because as I said, we're about to start scaling very fast. It doesn't make any sense to scale something that's losing money. So we want every operation to be profitable very quickly. And that's the ultimate test. That kind of traction will give you greater growth potential.
Very cool. I want to switch gears a little bit and learn about you personally as a founder and chairman. There's a lot of things obviously that you have to do. You're super busy in the day, but what's the type of content that you still consume? Like, how do you keep on educating yourself further? What are the platforms, and maybe even what is sort of maybe your tips and tricks to filter for good information?
Well, there's a whole lot of channels now. I've always had this saying. I think the best marketers have a thing called, I call it antenna up. You're always listening for information. You're always consuming information. And I've been, my entire adult life, a voracious reader, and I have just an innate curiosity about a lot of things. So I devour information from all sources: newspapers, magazines, television, podcasts, the web. I have a lot of Google search engines out there looking for information for me. But the other thing also is I listen to people. My team is very experienced, and they're all pulling information in from other places as well. So the way I summarize it is you have to have your antenna up all the time, because the market moves, the market changes. You can never rest. You have to have sort of a paranoia that someone's going to eat your lunch, and you have to stay ahead of the pack. So I'm always aggressive and confident, but also paranoid at the same time that someone will have a better idea or deposition us into something irrelevant. So, but yeah, it's important to keep your information flow going and current. Listen to the sources, but also listen to your team.
Very good. Okay, since we're slowly coming to an end of the interview, I want to jump into our rapid fire questions. Are you ready for those?
I hope.
Very good. What is the last book that you read?
I read Positioning by Trout and Reese just yesterday. And it's funny, that's an old classic. I think I first read it when it came out in 1985 or so. And I've been encouraging my team to read it because positioning is about owning a position in the customer's mind and being associated with one thing. And so we're all kind of going back to basics. So Positioning by Trout and Reese, it's a classic.
Very good. What's the one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
It is right now opening the club to focus on the brain health of people above age 50.
If there would be no boundaries in technology, what's the one thing you wanted to have fixed for the company today?
No boundaries. I would like to have more and better biometric data that we could use to understand how effective our brain workout is, particularly with the brain. There's a lot of new science there, and most of our workouts are designed to create what's called new neural pathways, which give you a stronger, more resilient brain. I'd love for there to be better ways to measure that, but right now we're using the basics.
What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
Oh, every night. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, the big overarching concern right now in the fitness business is how the impact of COVID is going to affect people's willingness to come back into public spaces. We think we'll be okay by September, but if there's another outbreak, if people remain scared, that's the big issue. That's the overarching issue for all the fitness businesses. What's the lasting impact of COVID?
Good. And the very last question would be, if today would be your very first day that you're working on, the fitness think tank, you're just getting started into that area, what's the one advice that you would give yourself?
Give myself. Entrepreneurial journeys are hard. There's ups and there's downs. You go sideways. Some days are great. Some days are, oh, why am I doing this? So I would tell myself, Just enjoy the ride. Take a deep breath, enjoy the ride. It's fun. The challenges are all solvable. So I guess enjoy the ride.
Cool. Martin, I really appreciate that you took the time for Pathmark Presents today. I want to give you the very last word, right? If somebody would be forgetting everything that we discussed about Activate Brain and Body, what would be the one thing that they should remember today?
Yeah, I would say you can take charge of the way you age by putting your brain first. It's important. And no matter how down you are, you can get better, reverse it, and change the way you age.
Thanks a lot for being part of Pathmark Presents today.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.